Hey everybody, welcome to week 8, and this week we're going to talk about sound. Kit Laybourne, the animator, wrote in his book, the animation book, that animation is 75% sound. That always struck me as a very astounding number, but when you learn about it and think about it, you see that that number is pretty accurate. You have to think that the animations, the sound animations of what is called the golden age, the 30s and 40s, when sound became a preeminent design consideration. Think about Looney Tunes. It's not Tunes, T-O-O-N-S, it's Looney Tunes, T-U-N-E-S. There's silly symphonies and happy harmonies. So sound played a really important part in the design process of animation. And the main reason for that is because that sound and music has a very deliberate timing. And so from that timing, if we know the beats of something, we can figure out its time. And as we've talked about, at 24 frames per second, if you know that a beat happens every 12 frames, every half second, dun, 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 then you know that on every frame 12, there's a beat. And that's why those early cartoons from that period are really elaborately choreographed. Characters walk to the beat, they blink to the flute or to a little tinkle of some kind. It's very much sound synchronized. We're not going to get that elaborate this semester in our look at sound, but we are going to talk about how to get sound into your animations and how to think about animation as very much comprised of many different senses, and sound is an important one. We have music, we have dialogue, we have sound effects, and this week we're going to look a little bit at how to integrate those into your animation to bring a lot more life and experience to the process. The bar sheet was a useful planning tool in the golden age of animation, and you can think about it as useful today in some respects. Here we have a visual representation of action at the top as related to its corollary musical notation at the bottom. Sorry for the low quality image here, but you could look up bar sheet and get a closer look. Here you see that the musical timing of notes, which is quarter notes, half notes, etc., have a specific timing, and the director is correlating to that musical notation their idea of what the action is going to be. So again, sound is driving the action, or at least the timing of the action. These days we have something called a waveform in many different digital sound programs that we'll be using, and a waveform essentially is a visual representation of sound over time. We're going to be using mostly Adobe Audition, which is the Adobe sound editing. So just go New, Multitrack File. We're going to import files, and we'll talk a little bit about where you get your files. And then you're going to have this waveform, a visual representation that you can click on and edit. You can raise and lower the volume. We'll show you that. And then you're going to be able to save as. We're going to generally save things as waveform files because that's a sort of a higher quality, professional quality. If we want to do a multitrack file, we just do New Multitrack or Insert Multitrack, and then export it as a multitrack mixdown. We can then save it as a waveform and import it into our document, whether we're using Photoshop or Adobe Animate. It's just File, Import, and then we sync it up with our animation that way. You can do sound in Animate and in Photoshop, but it's not a great sound editing tool, so you probably want to use a tool like Audition, or if for the freeware, Audacity is one to look at that will help you edit waveforms. Okay, so as you might have guessed, this week we're going to be putting simple sound with our animation. We're going to use our pre-existing animations and your walk cycle, your bounce. I may ask you to revise your walk cycle this week and do some other things as well. But for now, I just want a simple movie file with simple sound. So if you have your bouncing ball, just put a little boing boing in with it, or if it's a walk cycle, maybe some simple footsteps. You can download these sound effects from a number of places, but I just encourage you to go to soundbible.com. Otherwise, you're going to get in a rat's nest of Google searches and asking you to download all sorts of stuff. So soundbible.com is really easy. just click on the sound, do a search, click on the sound effect that you want, download the WAV file, and you can import that directly into whatever program you're working in. If you want to edit it or cut it short, again, use Adobe Audition for that as well. Quick word about copyright. Music is art, just like anything. You can't use someone else's sound or music, and this will be really important as we move on to our larger projects. So I want you to think about that now, because again, copyright is important, and we'll be talking a little bit more about copyright this week and as we move forward as well. So have fun with it. I think you'll see that sound is a lot of fun, and it brings a lot of life to the picture, and it can be really useful. So this week, it's very simple. Just want you to go through the process of gathering and importing sound. As we move on, we'll talk about other ways, more professional ways to handle sound. But for this week, we'll keep it simple. All right, have fun with that.